Hey everyone, Dan here. Before we get into it, if you enjoy these videos, please hit the like and subscribe button. And keep in mind that these are my own thoughts, opinions, and ideas. These are not meant to be, nor should you take them as investment or trading advice in any way, shape, or form. Do your own due diligence, put in the work for yourself, and make your decisions based on that. Enjoy.
All right, folks, here we are on Saturday, December 28th. We're going to take a look at Wimi today. So, out of the gate, yes, my voice is kind of shot from this past week, so we're just going to struggle through it together to the degree to which you want to watch through this. Now, Wimi was really going for it yesterday, Friday. It ended up being up over 77.5%. However, at one point, it stretched all the way up to 277, and that is with a low on the day of 170. So you can do the math there to figure out the percentage change that it had maxed out at, but I mean, that's just incredible. I'm not going to get into the news catalysts, the sort of fundamentals, if you will, of what that could mean for the company. I'm going to focus on the chart. So if you're looking for the other thing, find another video. I'm just going to be looking at the chart here. Now, previously, when we looked at Wimi, just, I don't know, a few days ago, we were looking at this wedge, right? This downtrend resistance that you can see here, and this uptrend support that had been holding for quite a while. And I was talking then about it getting some action outside of that and wondering if it was going to draw back in. At least at the moment, it looks like it's wanting to really leave that behind because it's so crazy volatile. And because this is one giant leap of a candle, I'm going to leave it there for now. But we can basically ignore it, especially when we zoom in on the chart. Now, the levels that I have, and I was able to get these from previous price action. Luckily, Wimi has been through these levels and more, right? So we have, all the way up to really, we have pretty good price action through, probably like toward an approach to 10. We have pretty good price action to base off of for Wimi. If it gets there, we don't have to do any like fib extensions or stuff like that until we get sort of into double digits. So that's really helpful, and that's where I drew these levels from. So if it does continue to need support, the nearest in support level, at least if we go not with the after hours price but with the close price, we're almost right on the money, 228.5, right? It closed at 229, so very, very close in there. So it's closing right on a support level. We'll see that better when we zoom in a moment. The nearest in resistance level, I actually don't have that 277. Not exactly sure how that sort of popped up. Maybe that'll be developing future price action. We'll see. But previous price action to me looks like 257. Sorry, whenever we get these fractions of pennies, I always need to figure out if I'm rounding up or rounding down. But so 257 looks to me like the nearest in resistance level. So if it can get support or secure support over that 229, like where it ended the day on Friday, what I would look for is a press into the 250s. And what's it going to do there? How's that resistance going to look? How's it going to work off of that resistance? Is it going to be able to plow through it? If it does it come back down and sort of reconfirm support and then carry on? That sort of thing. Now, if it does carry on, or who knows, maybe something pops and it jumps again and there's another great leap. If there's another great leap, that approach to 3, right? This 298 level is really probably just a psychological approach to 3. Folks kind of going, well, we're really gonna push this puppy to 3. So to me, that's probably what that is. But I have it at 298, and then we can see if we scroll back here, I did pop another level on the chart way up here at 376. I don't think that there's no levels or no price action between 298 and 376. However, given how crazy the action was on Friday, I wanted to put sort of a far out North Star, for the time being at least, of if it just, if we wake up on Monday and it's just kind of in the threes, what might that look like? It might look like, resistance heading toward 376, but we can fill that in as we go. It was just hard to cover a lot of ground and not make the chart a total cluttered disaster in the meantime. So I was trying to sort of, walk a fine line between those. Now, if it gets dippy and it continues to dip like we saw it sort of start to in the after hours, which to me doesn't really mean anything, but if it does get dippy, 205 basically, support level 185, 165. So on this end of things, the support level is that approach toward 2, right? I don't have it smack dab on 2, but I have it sort of like when it gets really close to 2, 204, 205. I think, folks are going to kind of say, oh, this is a really good opportunity to scoop up some shares. Are we really going to keep selling down here? Boppity boppity bop, that sort of thing. But if it does decide to push through, fall further, 185, 165, and then here's another area where 165 puts us into this gap that was left. So we'll see what it wants to do with that. But, I have nothing right now in that gap other than that 165, and then completion, if it did come down here to 139, it would already have filled the gap. So that's what I'm looking at for those levels, and then you can see the others there, but they're quite far away at the moment. Now, I don't know, the EMAs are not going to do much of anything for us. However, we do have now a nice sharp turn of a fully bullish formation on both the short-term and the long-term EMAs. So the price action is now situated above all of the short and long-term EMAs that I watch, right? You can put whatever ones you want on your chart, but the ones that I watch are 8, 21, 34. Those are the short-term, and then 183 is my long-term. So the short terms are now in a fully bullish formation, and they are all in that formation above the 183. So all EMAs in a bullish formation, they were already there a few days ago, but whenever that crossover sort of starts to happen, it can be kind of a tenuous moment, and Wimi decided to just max it out. Yeah, you see just sort of like a block. This is sort of bizarre block of volume here at each price point, but that's how Webull has it displayed at the moment. And then you do see, the gap here. If we scroll left and suck in some additional price action, that sort of might get accounted for, but who knows. But larger shelves down here, and this is just volume from the month of December. That's situated at a much lower price point. So to me, there's so much other stuff going on. I wouldn't tend to focus too much on the volume at the moment. Let me bring these back in. I am curious on the order flow. So even with just this crazy action, this says to me that a lot of the folks who are still in Wimi have been holding it for a long time, because if there's still, what is this, 25 or 30%? Yeah, close to 30% of shares that still aren't profited after yesterday's close. So a lot of folks who had it, back in the days of, the high 2s and the 3s and whatnot, seemingly are still holding, and this was back in 2021. So I guess, again, if that info on Webull is correct, then that may be the case. But yeah, quite interesting there. So we'll see how that sort of plays out once, if that pushes higher and we get profited shares into the 90s or closer to 100. If we start to get toward all-time highs, it'll be interesting to see how folks react to that, especially if they have been holding for a long time. Oh, one other thing I was curious on here. Okay, so you did get a lot of large-scale orders coming out, right? So a lot of folks wanting to lock in profit maybe at or toward that 277 level that we saw where it topped out yesterday. Now, in the think or swim side of things, obviously these ATR levels are in the dust at the moment, but it does sort of line us up with January ATR levels in a weird way, and maybe gives us some positioning there. So as it currently stands, as we're very close to coming into the January ATR levels, currently 246 is the call trigger for January. That gives us a +1 ATR to 302, and if we do get under the put trigger, 212 and a -1 ATR down to $1.56. So we'll see if those play any role. Obviously, we are on bullish phase for the phase oscillator, we stretched up to 108, so kind of a quick move into a relatively high in the oscillator, but nothing that couldn't persist. That wouldn't sort of indicate to me that anything is meaningfully going to inflict bearish pressure into it or curtail further bullish expression in the price action. We do see a really nice call out here by the TTM squeeze indicator, pretty lengthy trigger. Well, things started to get a little jumpy in here, and then it fired a few days ago. And if you happen to jump in when it fired, you're sitting pretty because you would have caught it when it was here probably under $1 or right around $1, and it's more than double that at the moment. So congrats if you happen to catch that one there. And yeah, sometimes that TTM squeeze indicator really comes in and shows us the way. All right, folks, so I hope that you enjoy your weekend and that you have a good trading week ahead. And as always, I appreciate you watching, and I will see you in the next video.